other components within Eco that we discussed initially, they all exist. None of this is vaporware. Notice that we didn't see any frame sets or slides that we were just propping up that was vaporware. These are all real. MDN obviously, in working with registered patients, had a decision to make, and we opted obviously for this partnership because time to market, just like you guys are in discussions with us, because you've obviously seen a need in your marketplace for an EMR. MDN, in a very similar strategic fashion, was much in the same position as you are with respect to a portal, and we opted to work with registered patients. And then the challenge, of course, where you really have to work is what we have been spending time with you today on, and that is what you can't see. The GUI is actually the fun part because it's hardened, it's real, it's baked, it's mature, and that's quite frankly the easy part to demonstrate. The challenge that Justin and I keep mentioning to you, and it's the true value, is all the integration that MDN and registered patients have already accomplished with respect to ECO. Because otherwise, when we work with channel partners such as yourselves, that would have to be a separate project that would require additional time, effort, energy, and cost. And that would be true even if you were working independently, if you were approaching another EMR vendor or another registered patient. I mean, obviously you could do that. That's certainly another option. Heck, it's certainly an option even with registered patient if you chose not to pursue ECO as it relates to integration with all of the EDI and the clinical workflow that's very elegantly available to your provider's patients, but also all the EDI work so that, again, to validate whether or not the patient's insurance is accurate. MDN is already doing that with you today, and therefore what we're doing is taking advantage of that fact that we're now creating even a greater expanse of exposing all of that benefit to you, and then by extension, you market it as if it's yours, and that way the next time you come across a competitive situation where today you don't have that, you'll be able to say, yes, we've got that and then some. So now Janice and her team can strategically start to gain business that no knock on Janice that she otherwise, because she's told me, she just simply wouldn't be able to even be in the game or the conversation. And it's so elegantly integrated because that's what the docs are going to be looking for. Because sooner than later, the other things they're going to be having to contend with that are just going to be distractions to all of us are things like ICD-10, things like Meaningful Use Stage 2, and also, I don't even want to bring it up, but 60/20 is coming down the pike as the next extension of 50/10. So the more you can provide this incredibly tight integration on all aspects, the clinical piece through clinical exchange, the piece on the registration, the patient health information record, all the EDI, the EMR, and tie it all into your existing architecture, that's what we should be discussing. Is that valuable to you? And if in fact the answer is yes, we get into more substantial discussions on all those integration touch points with your PMS, and then obviously try to figure out the scale, the scope, and then get our arms around, well, what's the price? I mean, let's cut to the chase. What's the price going to be? And then you can make your decision. I just would love your feedback. Is that kind of what your goals are? I mean, and if I've missed it, please tell me, and Justin, so that we can, respond today, so that if we need to go in a different direction, that's perfectly fine, because as you can see, there's an awful lot of flexibility in how we approach this. There's no perfect solution. That's the beauty of ECO. That's the beauty of flexibility how we create this integration and how we expose this to your customers, because we want this to be essentially your solution.
All right, I got some questions. Help me. So we have a customer in our pipeline, and so we offer these services, these new features to our client. We're going to tell them that we have an available patient portal, and there's a way for you to see what is there a way for them to see? To make appointments online? Give me some more features. So they have our practice management system that does their billing for them, does a pretty good job. We don't have an EMR, so we introduced register patient to them, and then after 30 minutes, they will have the ability to schedule appointments online, and what else?
Well, but Gary, that we're a little bit out of order, and that message might not have gotten back to you. That this is an add-on to ECO. So when we make the decision about ECO, we can also implement register patient. But they all will be pretty seamless. They will all stay. What we're hoping is to integrate ECO with Quick Practice, so the three would work together. But the option of Quick Practice and register patient is not an option that we're talking about now, because we would have to develop the integration with register patient, where MDON has already done so with ECO.
Exactly. And another point, Gary, that I want to point out if it wasn't clear, we already had discussions with you on other services that MDON provides, even outside of providers that may be interested in the various aspects of ECO. For example, register patient and EMR in one case. There's going to still be plenty of other providers that you pitch ECO to, and you're not going to call it ECO, but for the purpose of the discussion, you're going to sell an EMR to them, you're going to sell a patient portal. There'll be some that are happy with your PMS, but they already have an EMR, and Janus is not able to convince them to buy ECO for an EMR. That doesn't prevent you today from still going to even those customers and offering the other services that we discussed that, again, you will sell as if it's yours, like patient statements and patient pay online services and patient lockbox services. All of those services, again, from a real world standpoint, you could sell tomorrow if you wanted to every single one of your customers and not even talk about ECO, and because that's what's going to end up inevitably happening. I mean, I'd love for Quick Practice and MDON and register patient to be able to immediately implement ECO that includes the EMR and register patient to every one of your clients. That's the end game, but from a practical standpoint, that's not realistic. But that we shouldn't prevent Janus and your salespeople from being able to sell other components that you expressed interest in as well, and those will always be outside of ECO. Just like, for example, today, EDI transactions. You're already sending those to us. That's not necessarily going to change. What will change will be those subset of your existing providers and new customers that opt to get all of it, but it's all going to be within ECO. And the benefit is it's everything that they purchase through you within ECO is already integrated. The clinical integration, the EDI integration, the schedule.